Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room. My name is Becca Dukes, and welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. If you are watching a live stream or a replay and you want to join us live, you are welcome to do so by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's zoom.dailywithdoc.com. We are live Monday through Friday, except holidays, from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time, 1 to 2 Mountain time, 2 to 3 Central time, 3 to 4 Eastern time. And if you're in South Africa, is it 9 to 10 p.m.? Oh, 10 to 11 p.m. So there is a 10-hour difference right now, depending on the time of year. It all changes. Not always easy to keep up with, but folks, we are here for you wherever you are, as long as you're able to have access to either the phone, because there is a way to phone in, or just use zoom.dailywithdoc.com to be able to connect with us here live in the live Zoom room. Now, if you are live here with us, make sure that you have pinned or are able to see that profile called A Smile. A Smile is going to give you what everybody that is not here in the room with us are able to see out on all the different platforms. So whether you're on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Roku TV, Amazon TV, TikTok, Instagram, all the different platforms, that is what is being seen out there. So if you're not in the room with us, then what you're missing out on is the chat, because one of our co-hosts has the amazing ability to transcribe and is putting the information from
the content of the program itself into black and white text so you can easily do a screenshot or take a picture with your camera and keep that information, because you want to get back with your coach or the person that shared this program with you and let them know thank you for sharing this program with you. Not just thank you for sharing the program, but let them know what you liked best. And with the information that you took a screenshot of, you can then say, hey, I've got something like this going on. Can you help me get what I need so I can choose a better health journey, so I can go from just surviving and hoping to make it through the day to actually thriving and enjoying each day? That's what I did. And I know I'm not the only one. We have many, many people that have been able to do the same based on the research, the findings, and the solutions that we have on our program. And today, like we do have on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes pop-up days, we have the original doctor who, as I'm listening to all these different doctors talking, providing information as if it's brand new. Well, folks, the doctor that we have on with us, he is one of the original researchers that is coming up with some of the quote unquote new findings decades ago. It's in fact, Dr. Wallach, as I'm listening to them, it's like they're repeating what you have been saying for decades as if it's new findings. And that is absolutely incorrect, as we have the original, one of the founding fathers of a science of epigenetics that has proven the transfer of disease transmission, which they're saying is genetic, to be incorrect. Yes, there's genetics, like your eye color, your skin color, your hair color, how tall you're going to be, that type of stuff. But when it comes to disease,
are you a boy or girl?
Or whether you're a boy or girl, that's right. But when it comes to disease, no, that is not transmitted through genetics. You've heard it here. They're going to be saying it everywhere someday, Dr. Wallach. It took them a while for all the other stuff. But folks, you are in the right place to get information that is not necessarily new or trending, but it's the foundation. It's the truth and what it takes to help you thrive. Now, the doctor that we have on with us, who again I said is the founding father, one of the founding fathers of the science of epigenetics, he is also one of the founders and formulators for the company that I found the solution to all of my health issues with, and that is longevity. Now, Dr. Wallach worked his way through college in the pathology lab. Not only did he get a lot of experience with pathology, he got a Bachelor of Science in agriculture and plant and soil sciences. He became a doctor of veterinary medicine. Through his research in the pathology lab and the papers that he wrote, which he has over 70 that have been written and submitted, he is also one of the founders of the Journal of Zoological Findings, and that might not be quite the right term of it, but he was a lead researcher with the St. Louis Zoological Park in St. Louis, Missouri. He was invited to be a lead veterinarian with the expedition to save the white rhino in South Africa, where they were able to go from less than 300 white rhinos in the country to now over 16,000 around the world. Not only did he help save them, but he was part of the conservation project that benefited all of the animals, including the elephants. And he helped with a migration study in Rhodesia of the elephants. He is a prolific author, folks. There are many books, and I'm going to mention them in just a minute. But he has 3 postdoctorates in pathology. He has 3 big projects that he worked on as a pathologist. And they're on over 452. Over 452. I think the exact number is 454. I have to double check that. But that includes species like humans. So he's taken all of his research from the animal world, where he also became a doctor of veterinary medicine, bringing it into the human world, connecting the dots, and coming up with the fact that, folks, our bodies are an amazing creation. And when you give the body what it needs, the body itself can do some miraculous things when it comes to going from poor health to better health or great health. Now, Dr. Wallach, he actually was fired for some of his research. One of them, I guess it would be research, where he found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis in a rhesus monkey while he was working for Emory University at the Yerkes Primate Center.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you who are not familiar, Yerkes Primate Center works very closely and hand in hand with NASA. He got fired, like I said, for that, but that just opened up a bigger door for him, where he was able to teach nutrition and actually took the place of an outgoing teacher, instructor, professor at the naturopathic college. That Dr. Wallach ultimately became a naturopathic doctor as well. He is actually licensed in multiple states, where many have not taken what it takes or to become licensed in their state. And California is one of the hardest, folks, but he is licensed there as well as a naturopathic doctor. Now, through the years, one of the pathology projects that he worked on was in Qishan, China, where they had children that were just dying under the age of 10 for no apparent reason. Well, they took 1,700 of those precious babies that had passed away, taken the information from their autopsy reports, and figured out that it was, in fact, nutritional deficiencies that were causing their little hearts to fail. He took that information and fought hard to make sure that the nutrients that were found to be depleted, because it was actually the same condition as what we know here in the States as sudden infant death syndrome, where their hearts just fell. He fought the FDA and won to make nutritional claims on specific nutrients and to make sure that they get into the formulas of the babies in our states and around the world.
I sued them 8 times.
Yes, Dr. Wallach, he did. He sued them 8 times so that we can share the benefits of things like selenium, folate, essential fatty acids, things that the medical community is not sharing to be important. And like I said, he is a prolific author. So he has 25 books that he has published, 26 if you count the one that is considered a national treasure and is held in the Smithsonian Museum, which this is his thesis, the second book that he wrote, Diseases of Exotic Animals, Medical and Surgical Management, which is actually a recommended reading for those studying veterinarian practices. But he has also written books like Let's Play Doctor, Hell's Kitchen, which is the cause and prevention and cure of obesity, Rare Earths Forbidden Cures, Epigenetics, which I've already mentioned, Age Beaters, which is immortality, which is Age Beaters, where it talks about the different cultures around the world that live the longest and what it is that helps them live the longest. It's All in Your Head, talking about osteoporosis of the skull, which doctors aren't going to tell you about. He also has a book called Metabolic Syndrome and Black Gene Lies. Folks, there's so much information packed from his little head into these books, and I didn't even mention all of them. So today we're going to be talking about things that go on in the head, and that's mental health. So, Dr. Wallach, thank you so much for being on with us. I'm going to go ahead and bring you up here on the screen with me, and welcome, Dr. Wallach, to Daily with Doc and Becca. How are you this fine day?
Well, thank you so much for the kind introduction and sharing the wonderful things that our team does and work together. And it takes an army to deal with this. And of course, I was blessed with being able to work with animals growing up on a farm. And I was seeing that when we're feeding these animals alfalfa pellets, the label had a big list of all the minerals that they added to the alfalfa pellets. And we didn't have any health insurance for the animals like we did the family.
Right.
Okay. And because they were getting all those nutrients, why weren't we getting all the nutrients? Well, the doctor says we can get everything we need just by eating well. Well, that's about as far away as you can get. Okay. You cannot get everything you need by eating well. Plants only need 3 minerals. We need 60. Plants do not make minerals. We must consume them. And that's why the old Bible 2,000 years ago came up with the lands flowing with milk and honey. There were places at the base of mountains where the glaciers were grinding up the rocks at the top of the mountains, and the glacial dust was white, get into these streams coming down the side of the mountains. It looked like milk. So from a half a mile away, 2 miles away, you're looking at that mountain. It looks like a milk stream coming down the side of that mountain. That's where the land flowing with milk. Well, what about the honey stuff? Well, all those minerals getting down into the valleys produce more plants, more flowers, more bees, more honey. So the description, the land is flowing with milk and honey, where people would live to be 120, 150, 200, 300, 400, 500. And this is all documented in the old Bible. And of course, they gave the good Lord the credit for it, which is fair, okay, because he was the one that created everything. And so it's one of those things where when you get down to it, it's all absolutely 1,000% true. We didn't understand it, but the observation that those places, people lived a long time because of what was coming down the mountains, the land flowing with milk and honey. And so even today, the people who live the longest, okay, are the ones who live in the Himalayan mountains, okay, the Hunzas, okay, and their average lifespan is 120, and they're the longest of people on Earth right now. They're the Hunzas. They don't have one single medical doctor. Our average lifespan in America is 75.7, and we've got all these medical doctors and all these pharmacists and all these prescription drugs, but they're just designed to treat the symptoms. Mm-hmm. That way they can milk the cow, you and me, they milk the cow for 20, 30, 40, 50 years because they're not getting rid of the disease. They're just dampening down the symptoms, okay? Whereas in Pakistan, where the Hunzas are, they're getting everything directly from that stream coming down the Himalayan mountains. And guess what? No doctors. And they're the longest lived people on Earth now, documented by the United Nations.
Dr. Wallach, it mentions the land flowing with milk and honey 20 times in the Old Testament.
Well, there you go.
And something is mentioned, it's pretty significant when it's mentioned multiple times. And you talk about it. You actually did a lot of research on the different areas, and you reported it in your book called Rare Earths Forbidden Cures.
That's correct.
And
Dr. Milan and I, we went to 7 of those places, and if they didn't already have analyses of the soils in the departments of agriculture at the various universities in those areas, we actually took samples and got them analyzed. And it was very, very interesting that they had the highest level and the biggest numbers of minerals of any place on Earth. And that's why the people and the animals were living so long.
Well, Dr. Wallach, it's kind of fascinating in a very sad way, where we have so much latest and greatest technology, and the most pharmaceuticals, that we're cutting ourselves short like 50 years.
That's right.
By
Because
falling
primarily, most of our pharmaceuticals treat the symptoms. And of course, the patient is very happy. Oh my gosh, I've been miserable for years. And just after 3 weeks on this new drug that the doctor gave me, it all went away. Well, the disease didn't go away, just the symptoms were reduced. Okay. And
or
so,
in my
go ahead.
case, Wallach, I was going on different pharmaceuticals and they would change it because they couldn't figure out what it was that was wrong with me.
You had to go to a
And
veterinarian to figure it out.
well, and when you give somebody something for a specific condition and that is not helping them, and they add more and more, you're actually causing more harm to the body, because the body is not chemical deficient. It's nutrient deficient, primarily those minerals. So, Dr. Wallach, the brain. Let's talk about the brain.
Okay.
And mental health specifically.
Okay. Well, the brain, of course, and the spinal cord are 85% cholesterol.
Uh-huh.
What's the first thing that doctors say to you when you're old enough to understand? Stay away from cholesterol. It's bad. It'll clog your arteries. And so most of the brain problems, spinal cord problems we have, are actually caused by misinformation and misinstructions and bad directions and bad advice by the medical profession and by the pharmaceutical profession. Cholesterol is your best friend. Makes up 85% of the volume of the white matter of the brain and spinal cord, the myelin, but it also makes up 95% of the sex hormones. You don't want to be without the without the good stuff, okay, which is the cholesterol.
So what are the things that are beneficial for the brain, Dr. Wallach? And if we don't have that cholesterol that is supporting the protective coating of the brain and parts of the brain, what are some of the other things that the brain really needs in order to be able to function properly?
Well, the brain needs all 90 essential nutrients, just like your heart and your kidneys and your liver, okay, and your lungs, your muscles, your bones. We need all these nutrients for our various procedures that our various tissues, including the brain and spinal cord, do. It helps you think. It helps you remember. It helps you come up with answers to questions, to give advice to your families. But this is something that ended at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, in New York City. We know the exact moment, the exact place, and what happened. Thomas Edison pulled the switch on electricity and turned loose the end of humanity as we knew it. Okay, the longevity needs and the needs of the brain and spinal cord and all our big nerves, like the 12 pairs of cranial nerves going out all over the body, needed that cholesterol to make the myelin for the white matter of the brain, white matter of the spinal cord, and also the big 12 pairs of cranial nerves going all over the body. And so when doctors told people to stay away from cholesterol, I'll give you pills, it'll kill any cholesterol you come in contact with unknowingly at a restaurant. Well, that's why we only live to be 75 in America, because the doctors have taken away one of our longevity pieces by telling us that longevity piece was bad. No, it wasn't bad, okay? And it was just a terrible, 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 terrible mistake. And the medical doctors still are writing prescriptions for anti-cholesterol medications and telling people to stay away from eggs and so forth. Well, why do the Pakistanis live so long? Well, they live at the base of the Himalayan mountains. They're getting all that glacial milk coming down the side of the mountains, but also they're cooking in that glacial milk. They're making their tea and coffee out of the glacial milk. They're drinking the glacial milk. They're making their wine out of glacial milk. they're irrigating their crops with glacial milk. Okay. They're getting all these minerals that we're not getting. That's why they live to be 122 on the average. And many of them are living to be 130, 150, 200, and so forth, just like the Bible days. And it's the minerals coming down the side of the mountains that are doing that. Okay. Now, they don't know why, but they knew when people moved there and lived there and used the various things that were there in their own behalf, that they lived a long and healthful life. And so they just stayed there. They didn't go through and say, well, we'll just be here, and when we harvest everything, we'll move on. No, they stayed there because they realized that they were eliminating diseases that other communities were suffering from just 50 miles away. Okay, 50 miles away. They weren't getting all these minerals coming down on the side of the mountains. And here's the one that I like. Emergency room doctors. You'd think they'd know everything about that sort of thing. But the emergency room doctors, the average lifespan in America, I hope you're sitting down, everybody. The emergency room doctors in America, the average lifespan is 57.7.
That's only a few years away from where I'm at right now, Dr. Wallach, and I know I'm going to beat it.
No, you're going to beat it. You're looking great.
Well, I'm feeling great. So thank you for the looking great. You know, I don't want to, I look at pictures and I'm like, I can't believe where I was and where I am now. And compared to where I am now and how I was even in my 20s, it's like, I'm aging backwards, Dr. Wallach. So Dr. Wallach is pulling up the one of the publications that he and I put together, and that is the 90 for Life Crusade to Save Humanity and the World. This is a flip chart, and the page that he's holding up right there is demyelination-associated diseases. And when we're talking about the cholesterol, that plays into it. Now, Dr. Wallach, what is myelin?
Myelin is the insulation material that covers the big nerves and the various segments of the brain and spinal cord. And myelin is made from cholesterol. 85% of it is cholesterol. Okay. And it's really, doctor, and this is, I'm just a teenage kid working in the lab to work my way through veterinary school. And it's one of those things where what should I say, it was very obvious that the doctors were missing it by a million miles, because I'm seeing all these people at autopsy and they weren't opening up the heads. So I began to do autopsies, which included taking the top of the skull off, resulted in the book, It's All in Your Head. Okay. And it shows a picture of a normal skull, which is a 1/4 inch thick on page 6. And at the bottom of the page, it shows you a skull with osteoporosis skull. It's 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. The normal one is a 1/4 inch thick at top. Okay. And the bottom one is squeezing all those tunnels. To flip over the next page, it'll show you, these are my two favorite pictures. This is the bottom side of the human brain, and one of the pairs of the cranial nerves. And you see the nerves are going to the various organs and tissues in the body. And it tells you, there's a chapter for each one of those cranial nerves. It tells you what diseases you're going to get when you get osteoporosis of the skull squeezing that nerve. Okay. So that white streak, the gray streak, the white streak, the gray streak, each of those is a chapter. I think there's 12 chapters there. And we also have It's All in Your Head, also a CD that deals with the CD. That deals with the spinal cord.
Or the spinal cord, right. So there's actually 13 chapters here, Dr. Wallach. The 13th one being the spinal cord.
That's right.
So and he mentions some of the most common, not the only diseases that are associated with the different 12 pairs of cranial nerves and the spinal cord, but he mentioned some of the most common diseases or symptoms that are associated with osteoporosis of the skull. It's all in your head.
Okay, so now I want to stop you there for a minute. This includes Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, And we're constantly reversing these diseases all over the world now because they're getting the word, okay? And of course, in this flip chart, you go to, I forget what page it is, it's 20 something, okay? And it goes into Madeline, okay? And Madeline actually
so Madeline is on a case study. So Madeline had 11 years of being told that she had Parkinsonism each and every year. She was being treated for Parkinson's.
Getting worse and worse.
And she was getting worse and worse. And then she ran into a gal at the spa, which is one of our certified holistic health coaches, who said, you know what, let's try some products. Let's try some nutrition. Or she was doing other modalities and they were helping a little bit, but got her on a nutritional program that Dr. Wallach recommended. Folks, within 2.5 months, when she had that next 12-year annual
physical,
thank you, Dr. Wallach, they said she no longer needed the medication. She no longer had any symptoms of Parkinsonism. So, folks, it just goes to prove that you give the body what it needs. The body itself can do some amazing things. And there are so many symptoms that are associated with Parkinsonism, Dr. Wallach, and she had a big handful of them, but no longer does because of the program.
Yeah, now this is like I say, there's about 50 different diseases of the central nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord, and the large nerves coming out of the skull. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, Huntington's chorea, frontotemporal dementia, Bell's palsy, cervical spondylosis, optical neuritis, Charcot-Marie tooth, Guillain-Barré syndrome, neuromyelitis optica, myelin, oligodendritis, transverse myelitis, disseminated encephalomalacia, all these different things, chronic inflammation, anti-peripheral neuropathies, hereditary neuropathies, pressure palsy, myelopathies, optic neuropathies, and about 25 more. These are all caused by deficiencies of cholesterol. Okay, now who created that? Okay, and it's the symptoms of these diseases include vision loss, muscle weakness, muscle stiffness, loss of coordination, walking problems, change in sensations, changes in bladder and bowel function, nerve pain, overall fatigue, uncontrolled body movement, difficulty in swallowing, changes in speech, mood, depression, anxiety, blood pressure, heartbeat, palpitation, and the list goes on. Okay, that's just about half of the diseases and the symptoms you get when you're giving up the cholesterol, because doctors said to give up cholesterol because it'll block your arteries. No, it only blocks your arteries if you fry it. Do not fry your eggs. Do not fry your meat. Do not fry chicken. Do not fry fish. Do not fry anything. It's the frying that was the bad thing.
Right. So one of the big things about frying, Dr. Wallach, is whenever you fry something, you're heating up even the good stuff and making it bad.
That's correct.
You're bringing it to that super high heat. And that's creating acrylamides. And what are acrylamides, Dr. Wallach?
Well, acrylamides are the various substances in the the cholesterol in the brain, the myelin sheaths, okay? And when they get heated up and deficient in nutrients that support their function, the acrylamides cause fatal diseases, particularly in the brain and spinal cord.
Fatal disease.
Also the heart, also the kidneys, also the liver.
Yes. So we don't want to change the goodness of our food, folks, by doing something, even if it sounds harmless, just frying it. No, it's not harmless. It's doing a lot of damage to the good molecules that are supposed to be beneficial to our bodies and making it so that they are harmful. So, Dr. Wallach, we do have some questions that are coming in today, and I just want to make sure we leave plenty of time for those. One thing that I have a question on, though, when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of different conditions like dementia, Alzheimer's, you mentioned. There's schizophrenia, there's bipolar. There's so many different conditions of the brain.
All in the flip chart.
And it comes down to the cholesterol?
Yeah. Okay. And of course, we have some very famous people who are beginning to use
Rise and Restore.
Yeah. Okay. And Rise and Restore. Okay. And they were really going down the tubes fast, and nothing that the medical doctors were giving them any benefit. And they got on this, and in just 2 weeks, they found benefit. And in a month or so, their problems were gone. Okay. So these are something I've begun to use myself. And of course, it's one of those things where this all ended, getting all these good things ended at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, and Thomas Edison flipped the switch on electricity. Everybody went that direction. Well, for thousands of years, we'd been putting the wood ashes and the coal ashes into our food as a spice, and putting the wood ashes and coal ashes into our gardens as a fertilizer. And of course, the wood ashes and coal ashes had all the minerals in it that the trees and the brush had in them that were left in the ashes when you burnt when you burnt the wood for fuel. Okay, and so suddenly now we had to have hospitals, we had to have pharmaceuticals, we had to have pharmacies, we had to have doctors writing prescriptions, we had to have health insurance. That all happened after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, because they shut off the lifeline to humanity with electricity.
So it created many profitable industries, which I'm all about, industries thriving, but not at the detriment of humanity. That just blows me away, Dr. Wallach. I hear stuff like that, and it just burns a fire in me, and I want to spread and shout the word and the truth even louder, farther, broader. And we do have a hand up, Dr. Wallach, by one of the people that is helping me do this, which are so many. So, AJ, what is your question today?
Hey, Dr. Wallach, how's it going?
Okay, sir. How's it going with you?
Doing pretty well because of things that you've put in place. So I spoke to one of our distributors who does body work for a living, like works in a car machine body shop. And he had thought he had tore his right shoulder, but it was actually the doctors, after the x-ray, et cetera, said it's bone spurs. And he takes the Healthy Body Start Pack, but when he works really hard, it flares up. What do you think he may be able to do to get rid of some of the things going on with him?
Okay, well, for the pain, he can just use some CM cream topically on the shoulder, the elbow, the neck, wherever the pain is, but it won't fix it. It'll relieve the pain. What he needs to do is make sure he's getting the 90 essential nutrients and throwing in, obviously, the plant-derived minerals. Okay, I also like the vitamin D3. Okay, and then it's one of those things where we have so many different products to help rebuild the bones. Okay, vitamin D3.
Will we use MSM or something like that?
Oh, yeah, MSM. I think I've got a bottle here somewhere. Yeah, there you go, MSM. Okay, I take 3 of those twice a day, MSM. That'll rebuild cartilage. Also, the glucogel. I invented that to take the place of the glucogel. It takes the place of the
Bone broth.
yeah, the bone broth, which was thrown away when they went to electricity.
Yep. Well, thank you, Doc. Thank you very much. And in case we don't have a show, you have a merry holiday.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to have a merry holiday for another couple of hundred years.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You too. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, AJ. And folks, if you are out on the different platforms and like to ask a question, or if you're here in the Zoom, you can put it in the chat and we will get to your question as time allows. I understand, Dr. Wallach.
Fred, Fred, got to get to Fred.
Dr. Wallach, I'm pretty smart. That's why you hired me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I do not work for Dr. Wallach anymore, but I still am very honored to be able to support him and keep the message going. So I do believe that this famous person that you had mentioned that the 3.0 made a change for is on with us today. So I am going to invite him to the screen. And folks, we have Mr. Fred Van Loo, known as the Water Doc. So hello, Fred. Thanks for being on with us. And are you going to share some information with us of what the 3.0 may have done for you?
Well, yes, I am. And I when I hear, the famous person, it still is something I have never gotten used to, to be called a famous person. But you, Becca, I first want to thank you for making Doc famous. And second, I'm kidding. But second, you are one of the most classically beautiful women I think I have ever seen. You really have that beauty that doesn't matter what generation it's in. You're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, you're also smart. You also look like you might be almost a blonde. No, but you really are. You're absolutely beautiful. Your features, and had you not given away your age, I truly never would have guessed. I was going to make a joke that you were in your 20s, but I did think you may have been in your mid to maybe late 30s, and certainly not, 59 or whatever it was you said you were. Yeah, you're just absolutely gorgeous.
53.
But thank you. 53. Oh, yeah, got to get that. See, I got to remember, don't ever say a woman's age. You get in trouble. But Becca, you're just absolutely a one of a kind, and we can't thank you enough. And so, you betcha. And but yeah, I've known Doc Wallach for 47 years. I only joined him about 14 years ago when a third party said, Fred, they need your water. And I checked and I said, they know my energy stuff so that Dr. Wallach's protocols would still work, because we had this new satellites and everything crushing our cell function. And if your cell function's asleep, it's harder to use Doc's nutrition. It still works, but slower. And I don't like slow. But anyway, so, when I checked his 90, I was blown away. It tested off the chart. I doubted my testing methods, but it really, when I started using it and then started using it on my clients, within 2 years, I had totally given up all of my private labeled nutrition that was uncompromised. People thought I was crazy. I said, no, he's got stuff. It works so incredibly. And I said, and more importantly, it's more affordable. And so families can use it. And so I've been on that, and it's made a huge difference. But yet, in spite of that, I managed to, a few years into it, I managed to die a couple of times within a 3-year period. And only the second time when I died did they find out why. And both times they said, people don't survive what I went through, but it's because I had Doc's nutrition in my body before I died, as well as my cell function up, because I take the Quanta water, etc., to keep my cell function up. And so they determined it was damaged under my body before I was even a teenager. As they told me these things, I knew exactly what had happened and when it happened that caused this. But you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know this could kill me. And sure enough, once you know there's a problem, you can start really working on it. Well, Doc has been able to give me the things even after I died the first time scuba diving. He put me on a protocol that literally got me turned around. But I was healing slower than I should. And then the second time, 3 years later that I died, because they did a test a year and a half after I died that showed that I had blockage around my heart, about 95%. Well, they wanted to do their stuff. Well, again, with Doc, he put me on protocol and all, and I got it down to 65%. They found the second time I died because the first outfit only tested one artery, not all three around the heart. The other two were 100% blocked. Now, why with Fred Van Leeuw, who has interviewed father of chelation, helped people overcome circulatory challenges, why would I have that? And I don't totally know, except for the damage done and the DDT I spread with my bare hands under a medical doctor's supervision 2 summers in a row on an island in Maine when I was a young teenage boy. And so but it doesn't matter. The fact is I died twice and came back. God wasn't through with me. Coded 7 times in one night the second time. And so I've been on the 90, and I'm not a half-speed guy, so I'm healing slowly. Well, it's tough in my occupation to heal slowly. Would you agree, Doc? We want to get real fast, and we're obligated to, really. Well, actually, I survived and thrived when other people died, but that's not enough for me. I have to really be able to go and get them. So they come out recently with this Rise and Restore. Now, when they came out with this Rise and Restore, I had just started a 28, actually it's be a 40-day water and mineral fast, and only Doc's minerals. That's all I take, because there are no minerals like what Doc has. They're literally dried plants from prehistoric times. They're not fossilized like everyone else uses. They have to use heat and chemicals. Doc just soaks them in cold water for 2 days and filters them, because they're plants, and they're up to 1 million times smaller than the stuff that's in the soil. It's so amazing. So they're like pre-digested, and I could go on and on and on. All right. So they come out with this Rise and Restore. I have to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks before I can take the Rise and Restore because I'm on a fast. And it's frustrating me because I have it. And I paid $300 more than I should have paid, because to get on the plane with that package cost me extra it just was a nightmare. Nothing to do with the product, but it made me appreciate that box of nutrition that I finally started taking. And wasn't that long into it that I could really tell the difference. First of all, when I tested the Rise, it's the first product in 47 years that I've tested that tested a 10 out of a 10. Never, ever have tested a product that high. And I've worked with some of the very best formulators and all in the world. Rise is a 10 out of 10. It is just an amazing product. The Restore is a 7 out of 10. Well, there are very few products that ever get to a 7. I mean, it's amazing to be at a 7. And so I was taking it, but I was wondering whether you're supposed to double the dose. If you're 2 people, like Doc doses by weight. Turns out he's very right, as usual. But I was taking it at the dose that it says on the bottles and wondering, should I be taking a double dose? So I was doing good and responding, but my feet, the problem, and Doc probably wanted me to get into this before all this. I have, foot neuropathy from the damage done to my heart, especially the second time I died. It started a little bit in my right foot the first time, but the second time I did a job. I had 22% heart function, not good. So the body will just neglect parts of your body if it has to, if it can't pump blood to that, just so the rest of the body can survive. So I kind of knew what was going on, but not. It's just like, why? What's this going on? And like right here, I'm drinking our Saxy because it's what I found to be the highest source of polyphenols that are practical and taste great on the planet, and we have it in our line. So here I have a double 2 packs of Saxy here to help my circulation. So I'm improving, but slowly, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All right. Although the second time I died, when they tested me, with Doc's advice, I had gotten my the artery around the heart that was 95% blocked. I had gotten it down to 65%. Well, you could run marathons if all the arteries were 65%, but they didn't test the other 2, the first outfit. Lazy sons of guns. medical community and probably charged for all three. I don't know that. All I know is they didn't test it. Well, they were 100% blocked. So I can't unblock 100% blocked arteries. So I knew I had to go with a bypass. So I get a bypass. Now, because of the nutrition, and I got them to agree to let me have your nutrition doc in my ICU ward. First time in medical history, they've allowed anyone to have actual plant-based nutrition in their room because they're afraid, oh, it might interfere. Well, I agreed. If it interfered, I'd stop immediately without a sentence of disagreement. So I walked a 5K after I got out of the hospital in that triple bypass. But I still was responding slowly. And the neuralgia in my feet and legs, which is all too common, as I say neuralgia, neuropathy in my feet and legs, it worked up the legs. It had reached a point where they said it was right on the cusp of being totally irreversible. Now, I don't go medical except for testing. 9 different doctors approaching neuropathy. Just each one said, nope, not caused by this, not caused by that. They just said, you have one of those that we have no idea what it's for. I'm surprised they didn't say it must have been genetic. But they had no answer for it. But I didn't either. And I can't walk much with a neuropathy. And so I'm finally taking this Rise and this Restore. And then I finally decide I'm going to amp up the dose since I'm a little more than 2 people. And I started taking a double dose of the Rise and a double dose of the Restore. And all of a sudden, see, the only thing that got rid of the firecrackers going off in my feet and all was, a drug, gabapentin. And at least it's a fairly innocuous drug, but I don't like taking any drug. Well, the Rise and Restore, double dosing, and all of a sudden, a few days ago, I didn't need to take gabapentin to get to sleep. My feet weren't firing crackers. They were numb, but they weren't firing crackers. So I said, well, I'll try this. So usually you wake up in the middle of the night because the firecrackers are coming on again. I slept right through the night. Of course, that's the Restore really helps that too. And I said, well, that's interesting. The next day gets to be time to go to sleep and my feet aren't firing firecrackers. And I'm like, this is really interesting. And so the bottom line is nothing has helped except this Rise and Restore, which is the most incredible nutritional product that I have ever used. And it only replaces, to a certain extent, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You have to use, I always add an ounce of minerals in the morning to my Rise, and I add an ounce of minerals to my, Restore drink in the evening. And I may take an ounce or 2 additional during the day because they're so important, Doc's minerals. And I take the OsteoFX, kind of fallen in love with the liquid. It tastes so good, but there's absolutely nothing like OsteoFX, the finest form of calcium. And I make sure I take the marine lipids, which EFAs are marine lipids. That's and the selenium. That's the core. Now, I got a whole bunch more here that I take, but I do not shortchange the core. And Doc will tell you that. That's what's in his heart and brain pack. And I just want to thank you, Doc, because it's the only thing that has helped my foot and leg neuropathy.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience. And you're a professional person. And so for you to kind of walk through this with your professional background and all the things you've worked with over all the years to report such a wonderful result. Thank you for getting that out there. And we are definitely seeing benefit all over the world. We're in 81 countries. And so we're very excited about this because the Rise and Restore, I've begun to use it myself. And it's one of those things where I have 50 bottles on my kitchen table. I take 3 doses at breakfast and 3 doses at dinner time of all those things. People come in and say, what do you sell all this? No, that's my personal supply that I go through every day. Oh, holy moly. And so I'm 85 years old, and most people think I'm in my 50s when they look at me and listen to my voice and my energy and all this and the other. They think I'm in my 50s, but I'm 85. and I can kick butt. Okay, you don't want to pick on me because you'll wind up on the floor. Okay.
Thank you so much, Fred. And Fred and I actually tasted that Rise and Restore for the first time at the same event whenever they announced it. So it was an honor to be sitting next to him, actually, as we were learning more about the Rise and Restore and its function. And folks, 2 parts. Rise, which you take in the morning. I've actually been taking that in the morning, and I add in my amino charged protein. So I'm getting a nutrient packed protein drink in the morning before I get anything else going in my body. And then restore. Restore is to restore. So you've got different nutrients that help with different aspects of bodily functions. You know, in the morning, we want to get up, we want to go. So we get those nutrients and that help in order to do that. We want to make sure that we have the nutrients that feed the brain, which, as Fred mentioned, it replaces, for the most part, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, whether it's the original, the 2.0, the 2.5, we now have the 3.0. You still need that OsteoFX. And I agree with you, Fred. The OsteoFX liquid is my favorite OsteoFX. And then the essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are nature's blood thinner. They give the body what it needs in order to create hormones. And that's in addition to the cholesterol that Dr. Wallach was mentioning before. And for those of you who are experiencing numbness, tingling, pain in your feet, this may be the solution for you as well, like it was for Fred. So thank you so much, Fred, for coming on and sharing that with us. I am so glad to hear, because I know that you are having a little bit of trouble with that. And I just added you to my prayers, and glad that this is also part of the answer to that prayer.
And
so, folks, we are coming up to the top of our hour. Do you have one more thing, Fred?
I just wanted to say it's important to remember there is no one purple pill for everyone, because
That's correct.
Results doesn't mean someone else would have it, but they'll have results with other things. But I can guarantee that this is the finest product on the market today. And that restores the damage you do all day with the nutrients you got in the morning to take you through the day. And so that's why it's called Restore, but it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Thank you so much for adding that. And Doc.
Yeah, thank you, Fred, for sharing your story. Your story and Rebecca's story is the stories are going to help millions of people. We deal with thousands of people every day in 81 countries. And so this is going out all over the place. So thank you so much for sharing those stories.
Absolutely. And we have folks out on YouTube, Dr. Wallach, wanting to know how to get your books. And folks, you can give Wellness Publications a call at, if you're local, 619-420-2435. Again, that's 619-420-2435. If you have unlimited calling and can do long distance, use that number. That helps keep some of the money back in their pocket instead of using it to pay for a phone call that they should not have to. Or if you don't have that free calling, 800-755-4656. Now that is Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Again, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific time, 619-420-2435. And if you're Spanish, no worries. Salvador is bilingual, and he'll be able to help you both in Spanish and in English. He is such an amazing person. He's awesome. Well, Dr. Wallach, we're at the top of the hour. I just want to thank you so much for all that you do as we're trying to get our time in the right time schedule, as we're going to be doing more syndication on radio coming in 2025. So if I could get our co-hosts on the screen with us, that would be absolutely fantastic, as we are a team that has room for more. Dr. Wallach created this crusade, the 90 for Life crusade, to save humanity and the world, where folks, the 8 people on the screen right here, can't do it all by ourselves, and we're not doing it all by ourselves, but there is plenty of room for more. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can help create a healthier community, and then together, as we're doing that as well, we're creating a healthier world, get back with the person that shared this program with you. Ask them how you can be part of the solution. And if there's nobody to thank, you found us on your own and you want more information, you can give us a call, 855-949-3377. Wait, what? Oh, 9. So I'm not showing everybody. Sorry, AJ. There you go. 855-949-3377 is our call if you'd like to speak with a certified holistic health coach, whether it's to help yourself create a better health journey so that you can help your community, or you just want to jump right in. If you're not already working with somebody, give us a call. You can find more information about our coaching course program as a certified holistic health coach at coach.dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's coach.dailywithdoc.com. The other way works too. But anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for having us in your life for this past hour. It was not just by chance. I don't believe in coincidences, but we are here because it's within our hearts to see you not just survive, but thrive. My name is Becca Dukes. On the screen with me today, we have Albert down in South Africa, letting people into the room here in our live Zoom. Thank you so much, Albert. We have part of our tech staff is Sherry, who is helping to set up the Zoom before the time, or set up the stream before time, so that we can stream on the different platforms. We have Rod, who is part of our team that's out watching those different platforms and bringing questions in as he sees them, and also creating awareness of what is going on to bring more people to our channels. We also have Marilyn, who is here live with us, working her fingers to the bones. So it's a good thing she's on Great Nutrition, as she is doing transcription and putting that into the chat that is only available here in the live Zoom. And we have Kaylee, who is helping us with our social media and help us become more diversified in what we do and bringing in more awareness. Because folks, we've got to incorporate everybody, because this is not just for one demographic. It's not just for one area, one part of the country, one age span of life. This program is for everybody. So thank you, Kaylee, for being part of that. We have Ruth Ellen, who is my executive production manager, helping to keep everything online and organized. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen. And we have AJ, who is our director of marketing, who is helping us to get out on all of these different platforms and making sure everything is cohesive there. So folks, thank you so much again for joining us here on Daily with Doc. Have a fabulous day. And tomorrow we have Pharmacist Ben, as we have Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc. Have a wonderful evening and get back with the person that shared this program with you. Tell them thank you and ask how you can be part of the solution. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, Doc.
Thank you, Becca. Thank you, team. We love you all. We're a family, and we're going to save millions of people together. Thank you so much. God bless.
Yes, we are, Dr. Wallach.
Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.